The following is a Talkin' Buds podcast special presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, the bar is open. Come on in and join the Buds for a Maple Leafs postseason pint.
My friend Harry and I would like to buy you guys a round of beers.
You fellas been doing a bit of boozing, have you? Sucking back on Grandpa's old cough medicine?
Wash it down with 1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers.
This is the Talking Buds podcast.
All right, Ryan, if you don't mind, I have a little mini rant I want to go on here to start the show. First and foremost, welcome to Postseason Pint number 4. Our Game 4 review, the Maple Leafs falling to the Boston Bruins by a score of 6-4. The series is tied up at 2. We're headed back to Boston for a best 2 out of 3. The Bruins gaining home ice advantage back. Before I get going here, Ryan, any opening remarks you'd like to make?
The Leafs got out-Leafed tonight. And what I mean by that is the Leafs, 40 shots on the Bruins net, pretty much, I thought, dominated most of the possession in that hockey game.
Yep.
And the Bruins just capitalized on their chances, something that we know the Leafs all regular season. Get outshot, capitalize on your chances, win hockey games. I thought the Bruins did exactly that tonight, so the Leafs got out-Leafed tonight.
Final shot total was the Leafs 42 to the Bruins 31. All right, here we go. I thought the Leafs, offensively, I thought this was their best game of the series. To your point, they dominated possession. They had so many scoring chances. They had moments where they had the Bruins hemmed in and running around. And I thought they played well. I thought it was, like I said, probably their best game of the series from an offensive standpoint. But let me say this. If you are not going to play a disciplined and structured defensive game, not only against the Boston Bruins, against any team left in the Stanley Cup playoffs, you're going to lose. And what cost the Leafs tonight was yet another hazardous game in their own zone. Defensemen, specifically Nikita Zaitsev and Ron Hainsey, turning the puck over repeatedly. Wingers, specifically Kasperi Kapanen, never in position. Watching in the defensive zone, hanging your goalie out to dry, and you give a player the caliber of David Pastrnak those quality scoring chances, he's going to put them in the net. And while they did play well offensively tonight, they cost themselves this win with the lackluster defensive zone play tonight. And I ended last show by saying for weeks, for months, we talked about this series and we said it's not a good matchup for the Leafs and this isn't an ideal opponent. The Bruins are better, they're more physical, whatever. We've watched 4 games now. Okay? I believe in my heart the Leafs, when they get their game going, are the better of these two teams. And they can win this series. They can beat this team 2 more times. If, and this is a big if, they button it down defensively like they did in games 1 and 3. I did not like them in the defensive zone at all tonight. Every time the puck is on Nikita Zaitsev's stick, it's a frickin' grenade. Ron Hainsey, who we've defended numerous times on this show, counted at least 6-7 turnovers from him tonight, and they've got to be better defensively. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. It was just costly mistakes that the Bruins capitalized on, and also, again, the Bruins power play striking again, like that early penalty that Brown took, like that That was a killer, man. And then Austin Matthews kind of got goaded into that penalty, and McAvoy sold it perfectly, and they capitalized on both those power plays. And that was the difference in the game. And then kind of that throwaway Chara goal. Like, they let in too many tonight. And even though they fought their way back almost twice, they just too many, and it was too late. And man, I was so angry in watching that hockey game sometimes. Not because of their effort or anything. It's just like, I thought they just squandered an opportunity tonight. They came out and played as well offensively as we've seen in a long time, to your point. And I thought they just let them the game just got away from them. And I don't know, it may come back to bite them in the end, because that was a hockey game they could have easily won.
Well, it's their Achilles heel that we talked about all year, and it got exposed tonight. Just hectic play in their own end. The wingers are never, ever in position. And I don't know what it is about the Leaf defense. It's like they get it on their stick, and I don't know if they're panicking. I don't know if they're not looking. I don't know what it is. They turn the puck over like crazy.
Yeah, they just turn around and fire it up the boards, and usually the winger's not there, or it's just an errant pass, and it ends up on a Bruins stick, and it's right back in the Leaf zone. But they let too many men free tonight. Like, that second Marchand goal, like, just a second effort by the Bruins, and McAvoy getting that puck over, and there's Marchand out front for a tap-in. It's like
Nikita Zaitsev doing some of the best puck watching you will ever see. Although you've got another puck watcher that you'd like to talk about.
Oh, Kasperi Kapanen. Honestly, you're right. The whole team almost, like, even at the end, like, for the minute left, Mitch Marner was down in the corner. I think it was Marner. And he was one-on-one puck battle in the corner with another guy. And you're 6-on-5. And there's John Tavares just watching Marner just battle one-on-one with this guy when he's just standing there. It's like, dude, you got a minute left. Show some desperation. Get your stick in there. Like, what are you watching for? And Kasperi Kapanen in his own zone. The puck goes into the corner. There's no D in sight. And he's just watching the Bruin player go and pick it up and make a pass. It's like, oh my, yeah. Like, I don't get why they can't get two men in on a puck battle at the end there. Like, they're like, you're this desperate times, boys. Like, oh man, just tonight was so frustrating for me. I don't know. I thought they could have won that game, and it's just driving me nuts that they lost it.
Tonight marked the return of the Leaf killer, David Pastrnak, who was quiet through 3 games, 2 goals tonight. Marchand got a goal tonight as well, so that line produced more than they have through the first 3 games.
And that first Pastrnak goal was just a good bounce, like just right off Zaitsev's skate, and Muzzin pinched a little earlier, and that left Pastrnak open on the side, and Marner was just a step behind him. So that was kind of a good bounce for them. And then the second Pastrnak goal was just a beauty pass on a power play, like just capitalizing on opportunities, and that's how they won this hockey game.
What'd you think of William Nylander's line tonight?
I thought William Nylander was good considering what our expectations are for him at this point. Like, I don't think he was amazing, but I thought he had some really strong shifts in the hockey game where he had a lot of possession and was controlling the play. I still think Patrick Marleau, I don't get it. I don't understand how you could watch.
No, Ryan, we figured it out. Listen, we figured it out, okay? I was going back and forth on Twitter tonight, and everyone is like, why can't you just try Moore or Ennis up there with him, give him someone? And we figured it out. Moore and Ennis don't have a family. So they can't be moved down to the 4th line. I mean,
because
they can't.
Mike Babcock
Patty can't be moved down, to the 4th line because he's a good family man.
And he's a good pro.
He's a good
pro.
But
I don't get it. You watch everyone's new favorite hockey player, Trevor Moore. Like, the guy was an absolute dog out there tonight. And he's sitting minutes for Patrick Marleau, the most useless hockey player on the ice. Can't impact anything. Like, Connor Brown's not great, but I'll take Connor Brown right now any day over Patty Marleau. Like, this guy sucks. Like, he is so brutal on the ice. He does nothing. I don't even notice him half the time. Like, he's just everyone. I know, like, at some point in the broadcast they were like, "Oh, the Nylander line's out chancing the Bruins," but it's like, yeah, statistically they had a good night, but I still haven't seen Patrick Marleau. I'm still looking for him. Sucks.
Last year during the regular season, he was okay, and then he kind of stepped it up in the playoffs. This year, he's been brutal all year.
Visible.
All year.
Visible,
Yeah.
man. Like, he's...
Do you think this is like... Do you think there's a chance this offseason where he kind of hangs it up?
No, not a chance. He's not going anywhere. He'll be back next year, playing on the third line, taking up more ice time for guys who deserve it. Unmovable contract. Not effective anymore. But
he's a good family man, Ryan. He's a good family man.
I get the respect thing. Like, I get it. Like, I respect him too. He's played he's top 10 games played all time. He's a borderline Hall of Famer, but a guy who's respected all around the league. But at this point, I don't care about that. I need a guy who's not taking away minutes from other guys who are actually contributing to the hockey game. Like, Trevor Moore, most noticeable guy on the ice, arguably, other than Austin Matthews. Like,
oh, right.
it's just,
listen. He's terrible. He's terrible, but he's not putting himself over the boards, okay? Like, that's another part of tonight's game. Mike Babcock got completely outcoached from the opening puck drop.
I guess the blame is also on Babcock. I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at, too. It's just like, I don't get it. Like, it's just like, oh my, anyone who watches this team can just see it, that he shouldn't be taking minutes away from other guys because he's just horrible.
Well, like today, Bruce Cassidy moves David Pastrnak off the top line to try and get him going and get him away from that matchup. And Babcock just does nothing. Keeps going. And again, they played well. So in fairness, but if you want to start the game with the same lineups.
Pasternak's both goal, like his first goal was assisted by Marchand. So
yeah,
maybe they caught them on a bad shift. But
it's true. But the point I'm trying to make is the lack of in-game adjustments. Like, again, and it brings us like full circle to what you were just saying about Patty Marleau. Like, you couldn't have tried more Ennis up there for a shift or two. Like, you gotta keep. And so anyone who's griping about Patty Marleau, I agree with you. He's terrible, and Father Time has definitely caught up to him, but Patty's not putting himself out on the ice. Babs is putting him out there.
And that's kind of what I'm saying, too. It's like, it's not even Marlowe's fault. Like, he's an old man. Like, he's trying his best, I'm sure, but, like, can't you just watch the game? Like, oh, man, it's brutal.
Austin Matthews now with 3 goals in the series.
I thought he was unbelievable tonight.
Yeah.
I thought this was his best game, and by a mile, when it comes to just... He was dominant. Like, everyone's like, he needs to take over a game. I thought he even though they didn't win the hockey game, I thought he was as close as you could come to taking over a hockey game. He was all over the place, and that's how that guy needs to play more times than not.
So Game 5 goes Friday night in Boston. Like I said earlier, the Leafs now have surrendered home ice advantage back to the Bruins, and it's going to be tough. They've got to beat the Bruins 2 out of 3 times. Potentially twice in Boston's barn. They can do it. Again, I believe they can do it. I believe that they're the better team, but it's got to be the thing about their 2 wins so far. It's been structured team efforts from start to finish.
And not giving up super costly mistakes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, turnovers. Like, Nikita Zaitsev. Holy. And you know what? He hasn't been that bad in this series so far. But, oh, my God. That guy handling the puck is just just get it on your stick, find the closest blue shirt, and give it to him.
Well, I think one thing we've learned about this Maple Leaf team, too, is if they're not leading in a hockey game, halfway through the second period, going into the third, like or even if they don't jump out to a lead, it's early in the game. Like they usually don't win. Like during the regular season, they lost one game leading going into the third period. So that just shows you that if they're leading and going to the third period, things are looking good. And when they go out early, things are looking good. Like tonight, those 2 early goals, even though they came back and tied it at one point, just when that happens, you're just like, this is, that's when I just know, and I get that feeling in my stomach that they're just not going to win a hockey game. Whenever they go out and give up 2 early goals like that, that was just a killer for me. And then they tie it up, and then they give up another quick 2, and you're like, I'm so pissed that they squandered this game tonight, man. Like,
yeah, it was. They needed this.
I can't get over it.
I agree. I agree with you. If they lose this series, I will look back on this game and just the defensive play in this game, and it speaks to, like, you were chirping Kapanen earlier for being a puck watcher. Ryan, he was untouchable. We didn't want to move him at the deadline to pick up a defenseman.
He's fast. Because we like when he goes for a rush, but never cuts to the middle of the ice because he's too afraid to take a hit. He looks great skating up the side of the ice, right beside the defenseman. Wow, he looks beautiful. Never cuts in the middle, ever. Same with William Nylander. Like it's just man.
I'll admit it right now.
He was brutal tonight, man. The only thing he did tonight was lay a couple nice hits on Charlie McAvoy. Other than that, he was driving me nuts tonight.
I'll admit it right now that I've been a proponent of Kasperi Kapanen's all season and have liked his game, especially at the beginning of the year. But based on what I've seen down the stretch here, if he was a piece, and we don't know for sure, we're just speculating, if he was a piece that maybe Carolina was looking for a Brett Pesce, in hindsight, that was probably a mistake not to pull the trigger on that deal.
I thought that was an absolutely huge mistake. Huge mistake if that was ever a thing. But that's in the past now, so there's no point in even dwelling on it at this point.
All right.
I don't know what to expect in Game 5, man. Like, one thing this series has taught you, these two teams are about as evenly matched as they can come. Not the same team, but compare both teams with their styles, pretty evenly matched. So you cannot make any sort of prediction going into any game in this series. You have no idea what's going to happen.
Just
one thing we know about this series so far is all season we were fearing the big bad Bruins and how they would throw it in our face and be physical. They're not that this series. Like, Game 2 got a little silly, but 3 out of the 4 games, they haven't done that. The Leafs have out-hit them this series.
Well, they can't keep up with the Leafs' speed. I think the Leafs' speed has them back on their heels. And that, for me, I sound like a broken record, is why I've sort of flipped my stance on, like, I think the Leafs can win. It's because I think the Bruins can't handle their speed.
And they're not,
again, if you just play responsibly for 200 feet of the ice, like, I'm with you. So frustrating. I can't tell you. And again, we've stood up for Ron Hainsey so many times, and it's just, he was an absolute turnover machine tonight.
Yeah. Yep. Just, oh man, I can't even. You need to go.
You're not mad. You're just disappointed.
Yeah, I'm just, like, usually I can get over and be like, it's fine. But I just know, like, now you got to go and win 2 games. Because this series is going 7 games. Like, I believe this series is going 7. Like, there's no other way around it.
Another game.
Destiny is just going to throw them back at TD Garden. And they're going to have to win a hockey game in that building and slay the dragon. Like, and tonight just bothers me because they could have just gone up 3-1 if they just lessened the errors in their own zone. Because I thought, other than that, they played just as well as they could play in the Bruins zone. Like, all year we've been talking about how it drives us nuts how the Leafs never have constant possession in another team's zone. They had that tonight, and they couldn't do it. So they're gonna have to come over. I'm going to use the most overused word in the English dictionary, adversity, and win some hockey games in that building to win this series and move on.
All right, let's just take a look at our ice time leaders here before we get into bums and beauties. Morgan Rielly led all Leafs with 24-37. Jake Muzzin, 2028. Ryan, Kasperi Kapanen, 1830.
Yeah.
Andreas Janssen, 1813. Austin Matthews, 2136.
Oh, yeah. He was all over the ice.
So the top two lines got in and around 20 minutes, and the top two defense pairings pretty much the same.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of Jake Muzzin tonight. He was the guy I noticed the most on the back end. Mostly because he's being physical.
2028 for Jake Muzzin.
Yeah, mostly because he's being physical, and he's having a great series. So maybe if we rewound the clock, we should have picked up another D-man at the deadline. But that's a conversation for another day.
All right, let's do bum and beauty of the game. Hit the intro.
It's time to find out who's a bum and who's a beauty. Take it away, buds.
All right, Ryan, if you don't mind, I will go first. I have two bums of the game. My first bum of the game is Drake.
Oh, yeah.
Shows up with the jersey on. Tonight was proof. I tweeted during the game that at MLSE that someone needs to go and escort him out of the building. Shows up with the jersey on. The Drake curse is a real thing. So he gets one of my bum selections. And my other one, I've talked about him a few times already, and I'll talk about him again, Ron Hainsey. We've stood up for him a lot because he takes a lot of flack, but I thought he was brutal tonight. He turned the puck over a million times tonight.
Yeah.
Frustrating to watch.
Not Ronnie's best game. Looked like him and Marleau were kind of playing at their age level tonight.
All right, your turn.
All right, my bum of the game is none other than John Tavares.
Oh my God! Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa!
I
sound the alarm. That is you are just full of, between the last episode and this one, you are just full of firsts.
Yeah, John Tavares, my bum of the game. 47 goals looks good, but dude, you got to chip in, bro. Like I don't think he's I know Patrice Bergeron hasn't really done that much offensively anyway, but dude, if you 47 goal scorer, we're relying on you. You're one of the top players on this team, and I don't think he's created any offense for himself. And it's not like his line hasn't been offensive. Zach Hyman and Mitch Marner have had plenty of chances, and I just think John Tavares offensively, for a goal scorer, for a guy who's supposed to produce points, has been kind of disappointing this series. And I know he has a tough matchup, but if you're really that elite player, you can get through the matchup and create some offense for yourself. I think he looks slow, and I think he needs to start chipping in at this point if they're going to win this series. So
the counter argument to your point, though, Ryan, would be that he's been given the shutdown Bergeron assignment.
Yeah, I don't care. Mitch Marner, I've seen Mitch Marner and Zach Hyman have so many opportunities at the net and create so many opportunities, wreaking havoc out front. I haven't seen John Tavares, I don't know. I just think I'm expecting more from him. It's not that he's playing bad or anything. It's just if you want to be an elite hockey player and get paid the money he's getting paid and be relied upon as a top centerman, even though you have a tough matchup, you got to fight through it and you got to chip in. And if they're going to win this series, he has to chip in. So he's instead of going for the low-hanging fruit, the Patrick Marleaus, the Connor Browns, I've said those guys' names a million times. I'm sick of saying them. So I'm going after one of the top dogs tonight. It's John Tavares. You're my bum of the game.
All right, beauty of the game. Which one of us is going to take Austin Matthews?
I'll take Trevor Moore.
Okay,
everyone's new favorite hockey player. I don't blame them. I don't blame anyone for loving this guy. What an animal. Like, just constant effort, 24/7. And he's got some skill, too. And he just needs more minutes and stop having guys like Patrick Marleau take minutes away from him. This guy should be getting more minutes in the playoffs. I think he's earned it through 4 games, and I love the kid. So he's my beauty.
All right, I'll do the honors then. Austin Matthews, my beauty of the game. He went beast mode tonight, 2 goals. You said it earlier, it was his best game of the series. If he's going to play like that through the next 2, possibly 3 games, I think we're in good hands. So Austin Matthews, beauty of the game.
Yeah, he was unbelievable tonight. I thought maybe it was the best playoff game I've ever seen him play. Like, he was all over the ice, man.
All right, Rye, before we wrap this up, I think we would be remiss if we did not talk about the 4-game sweep demise of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Ryan, is this the biggest choke job in NHL history?
See, I think a choke, I would think a choke is if the Tampa Bay Lightning were up 3-0 and then they lost 4 games in a row.
They had 62 wins.
This is the parody of the National Hockey League
versus 8 seed. This was a team that this is the ultimate bracket buster. Everybody had this team going to at least the East Final, at least. But they didn't lose a hard-fought series in 7. They got dummied in 4 straight by the 8th seed.
They lost that series in game 1. They were up 3-0. And that game was a choke. And then after that, they just couldn't get back on the rails. But I was hearing comparisons to this is like if Golden State lost. And it's like, no, it is not. The NHL, the parity in this hockey league, I don't think there's that. I know they won 62 games, but once the playoffs start, I don't think there's a huge difference between the Columbus Blue Jackets, if they're red hot, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Like, it's not like they lost to the Ottawa Senators. Like, the Columbus Blue Jackets are a pretty damn good hocky team. Like,
well, can I tell you?
I'm not the only one I'm not super shocked by this. Like, obviously, I had them going to the East Final and losing, but it's just one team got hot, another team was ice cold. I don't know.
That series I've definitely watched more than some of the other ones outside of the Leaf series. Anyone who thinks that if the Leafs or Bruins win, that they're going to have an easy time against the Columbus Blue Jackets, you better think again. The Columbus Blue Jackets hit everything in sight.
Yeah,
and they play
a damn
hard,
good hockey team, and they got a good goalie.
Fast. Yeah, they are.
They have good defensemen.
Good team.
They got heavy forwards who can score. Like,
if you're the Lightning, is it like how would you what do you think happened to the Lightning?
Well, Victor Hedman happened. Like, Victor Hedman wasn't Victor Hedman. He wasn't 100%. And he just, him being kind of absent from that series to me, is the big difference. And the big boys couldn't get it going for the Lightning either. Like, yeah, they scored, they killed the whole league during the season, scored 1 million points. But, dude, you've watched hockey enough. Like, one team gets hot and one team is cold in the playoffs. Like, it doesn't matter if you won all 82 games. Like, once they choked away that first game in the series, it was over after that. Like, it was over. Like, Columbus had all the confidence in the world. Tampa Bay was rock bottom, and then now they're gone. And I don't think they should overreact to this going into the offseason. Like, they have a lot to figure out with their salary cap. But it's unfortunate for them. Like, I actually kind of feel bad for them in a way. Like, I know some people were stoked, but I'm not a Tampa Bay hater. I actually kind of like their team, but it's just this is the NHL playoffs. This is the parity of the league. I'm not super I'm surprised, but I'm not like sitting here being like, oh, I can't believe they got eliminated. That's the biggest choke job I've ever seen. It's like, no, a choke job is being up 3-0 in a series and blowing it. Like, I don't consider it a choke job.
Last point on this, I think it does speak to if you coast through the regular season and you don't go through any adversity, you don't know how to handle it.
That's the most overused word in the English dictionary. Adversity. Coming over adversity. But you're right, though. Like, it is properly used in that, like, talking about their season. Like, they just rolled all the way through. Columbus was fighting for their lives for a month. So one team came in desperate. The other team came in basically off a vacation for a couple months.
The Pittsburgh Penguins are swept in 4 games by the New York Islanders. Sidney Crosby finishes the series with 0 goals. Your thoughts on this?
Again, this is why I picked John Tavares as my bum. Because if your top player has 0 points and doesn't contribute offensively, you're not going to win a series. Like, what did the other Penguins do either? Not just Sidney Crosby. Nothing. Like, where was Phil? Like, where
game 1?
Where was Mal? Like, no one showed up. And you're not going to win if your big players don't show up. And on the other note, I hate the New York Islanders.
So do I second that.
I feel sick thinking about them going to the second round. Like, and oh man, I can't stand the Islanders. They're my new least favorite team in the NHL, man. I hope they get dummied out of the next round by the Capitals.
Well, Ryan, time will tell. We'll have to wait and see. And with that, we'll wrap up postseason pint number 4. Game 5, Leafs Bruins, goes Friday night at TD Garden in Boston. We'll be coming at you sometime after that. Thank you, everybody, for downloading, and we will see you then.